Hi, folks. Welcome to Follow the Leader, podcast focused on telling character driven stories through the use of GM-less tabletop games where we can all take the lead. You can find us on Twitter at FTLcast and at FTLcast.com. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/FTLcast where you can get bonus content such as outtakes and bloopers and special bonus episodes. Today we're playing This Game Takes Place in Your Hometown by Jack Blair. For those of you who are new to this game, here are the basics. This is your hometown at the end of the world, and it is empty, and the two of you are alone except for the hunter. As you walk around the streets, picking through the rubble for supplies, the hunter's heavy footsteps. The hunters have caught everyone else. You and your partner have refused to die. You pick through the scraps of a life you hardly remember, gathering what you need from it to survive. The hunters don't need stuff to survive. The hunters have everything they need to hurt you. One of you hasn't been home in years. One of you never left. You're both afraid, but you have each other. I'm August, and you can find me at Harpydora on Twitter, and my pronouns are they, them. Playing with me today, we have Jade.
Hi, I'm Jade. You can find me on Twitter at JadeOxfordRose, and I use they, them pronouns.
Today, it is just the two of us, and I'm not going to sing the song because I don't want a copyright strike or anything like that.
I'm glad you said it because I was literally about to burst into it, so I'm glad that you saved us from the copyright gremlins.
I know. Our lines, which is things we absolutely do not want to see, are homophobia and transphobia, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, violence against children and animals, sexual assault, domestic violence or intimate partner violence, unwanted pregnancy, and plagues and pandemics. Our veils, which are things we're fine with addressing but will just fade to black on, are steamy situations and terminal illness. Since we're playing a horror game today, possible content warnings for this episode include graphic descriptions of bodily harm and body horror. There are mentions of dead bodies in the cards, and there are animals in this game, but nothing bad will happen to them in the text of the cards, and since we have our line on violence against them, don't worry if there's an animal, nothing bad happens to them. And now that we've got all that, let's get started. Hell yeah! So, this game is actually really simple. It involves the use of a, quote, tumbling block tower, of which we all know the brand name, which we're actually using some supplemental rules to play remotely. It also involves a deck of cards, which is what we use for our prompts. Some of the cards will ask us to pull a block from the tower, and we follow the instructions on the cards until the tower collapses and we're found by the hunters, or until we draw the fourth two and we escape.
In case it's been a while or you've not heard about the dice rolling alternative to the tumbling block tower, what it is I don't know whether we want to mark, because the last time we used it, it was you roll a d20 and you mark down what you get, and once a number gets hit a certain number of times, the tower falls. Originally we had it down when it's hit for the fifth time that it tumbles. Do we want to reduce that to maybe 4?
Yeah, let's do 4 because I want this to be a kind of tense game. So yeah, let's do 4, and honestly, if we get 4 of the same number right in a row, then let's do 5 because I don't want this game to be over so easily.
I kind of appreciate that this game you don't actually have to specify anything about your characters. You can just like go in.
Yeah. I kind of appreciate it because it reminds me of like Descended from the Queen games
Mm.
in that respect, because your character kind of evolves naturally through the gameplay. But that's not stopping us from kind of
Mm-hmm.
coming in pre-decided who we want to play and seeing what happens between them. So Jade, if you would like to introduce who you are bringing to the table.
So I am playing our person who never left the hometown. His name is Milo. You maybe remember him from the Camp Saltburn bonus arcs. This is going to be a very different tone. And he's not going to be a werewolf this time. Sadly, didn't quite vibe with the game. But yeah, Milo is in his mid-20s, about 6 foot tall, trans guy with sort of strawberry blonde hair. Was maybe about shoulder length, though it's normally pulled up. The kind of buff that comes from enjoying doing things rather than just sitting and working out. There is also some sitting and working out kind of vibe, but it's muscles that are working, not muscles that are there to look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just generally kind of a sweet, kind of goofy guy. I imagine like went into the family business straight out of high school, which he may have dropped out of, maybe. Or at least he didn't do great at high school, but had the family business to go into. So, and likes the town he grew up in and never really saw a reason to leave. Did summer camp a lot as a kid and worked as a camp counselor, or has worked as a camp counselor, because I feel that's an important vibe, because all the people I know who have done camp counselor work have an energy to them that I love. So yes, that's Milo.
That's very good. And I'm going to be playing the person who left. I'm going to be playing Marnie Sands. She uses she her pronouns, and you may remember her from our season opener. But she is not a mech pilot today. Instead, she's someone who she actually left the town to attend school, probably, kind of like settled in a little bit in the college town where she went to school. And it's been several years since she's been home beyond like maybe the occasional holiday sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
She came back, I think maybe she came back for possibly a funeral when everything went down,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why she's here. I do have a question. I meant to ask this before we got started. So what kind of setting are we in here? Is this
Mm.
sort of, 2 minutes in the future kind of thing, or are we doing anything sci-fi in particular?
Hmm. I'd rather, and I know I've cited this reference before, but maybe because the game is so vague about what the end times are and what the hunters are, like something maybe more Twin Peaksy.
Okay.
So,
I like that idea. So secluded area in a kind of damp mountainous region, lots of
mm-hmm.
mist,
Yeah.
a little bit insular. Okay. Okay, I dig it. I dig it. And for all we know, the rest of the world has ended, but we don't know for sure because
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of isolated.
Yeah.
So it could be just us, but it could be the whole world.
And going out through the forest feels like more of a certain death sentence than like trying to get by in the town.
Mm-hmm.
So, or at least at the moment it does.
Mm-hmm. Have we seen the hunters, or do we only see their handiwork?
I like that maybe in the sense like a cryptid or like the footage you see of the aliens and signs, like maybe at a distance, or we've seen a shadow around a corner, but not had
Okay.
a proper like interaction.
Okay. I dig it. And the game does say that we can dismiss any prompt that we're uncomfortable with dealing with.
Yeah.
So,
And we have an X card on the table if need
yep.
be. Should we establish the kind of dynamic of this relationship a little bit between these two before we start pulling cards? Like how we're thinking about it? Or do we want to explore that more through play? Or maybe what their dynamic was when
Yeah.
before Marnie left the first time?
I think an important question is, did Marnie know Milo before he transitioned?
Yes. I'd say so.
Okay.
I feel like Milo maybe started transitioning towards the, or like fully started transitioning like towards the end of high school.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
So, what if before Milo transitioned, Marnie had a crush on him? Because Marnie, in my mind, is definitely a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went really, really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody felt awkward about it. And then
Mm-hmm.
Milo transitioned, and Marnie was like, oh, that's why it was weird,
Mm-hmm.
because Milo was actually a guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I dig it.
So they've kissed. It was weird.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think Milo was possibly gay. Definitely queer. Because one, this is a me character. But two,
Hmm.
I feel like gender's not too much of a thing for him. But like being friends in high school, like that good sort of like queer kid solidarity.
Hmm.
What kind of clique were they at high school? Were they just like part of a certain group? Was Marnie a band kid? I don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering, was Milo like into sports at all? Because I can definitely see Marnie being a band kid.
I feel like Milo played soccer for definite.
Okay.
Probably a bunch of other sports too, but
Okay.
was probably on the before transitioning was maybe on on the girls' soccer team, and then dropped out. You know, when things started feeling weird.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, not an academic kid. Was Milo definitely a bit into sports, but wasn't a jock about it. I don't know. I didn't. It's not something you really see like jock like femme people. Isn't something you see a lot in movies. So it's like jocks are boys, and then you have cheerleaders. I'm not saying that girls don't play sports in movies, but you know, just
Hmm.
a thought that occurred to me. Though, 10 Things I Hate About You, classic film. Cat plays soccer, so you know, it's not unseen.
Yeah. Queer kid solidarity, and band kid occasionally ends up having to play at sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they were probably friends, the beginning of high school. Maybe they had homeroom together and
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, same homeroom.
yeah, just gravitated towards each other. I think Marnie was really bad at like keeping in touch.
Mm-hmm.
So this may be the first time that Milo's really heard of Marnie since she left.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Milo wasn't necessarily that great about it either. In that way that a lot of maybe neurodivergent folks sometimes struggle with that, but normally can
Mhm.
pick up relationships where they left off as well. But also
Yeah.
that whole, don't want to intrude. She's off doing her own thing. I'm doing my thing.
I kind of feel like I've portrayed Marnie a little bit as neurodivergent too. So I think that the whole picking relationships right back up where they left off is probably something that is in play here. So
Alrighty. Should we start to draw some cards?
let's draw some cards. Would you like to do the honors?
Sure. Okay, so we literally just. I'm going to click these to shuffle again because it never hurts. I'm trying to. Because the way the game is described to write in person, sort of like you don't have to. I'll read the cards aloud except the parts in italics. Okay.
Yes.
If the italics describe a danger, you may alert your partner to it as you move to the next card. You may also say aloud if you need to draw a block. Note down everything you find as you travel the town. When you are found or you escape, use the things you found to narrate what happens next. Okay, I'm just going to deal this to the top, the table, because then I can just find it. Okay, 10 of diamonds. Your feet hurt and you sit down together just for a moment. Share a drink and look around. Ask your partner where you are.
I think we're in our version of a 7-Eleven,
Mm-hmm.
or a convenience store with a attached gas station, but like a it's not a mom and pop one, it's a chain one. It was probably something that drove the mom and pop one out of business,
Yeah.
but we're kind of in the back. The coolers, like the electricity is still on, so the coolers are still working, but the lights are off because nobody's turned the lights back on.
Mm.
And that's where we got our drink,
Mm-hmm.
was out of the coolers. I want to say Marnie just like left a couple of bucks on the counter just just in case,
Yeah.
like if Milo calls her on it, it's just like, you never know. I don't want to be stealing. Just the absurdity of it.
Yeah. For what is that? I don't think he would call it. I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah, good idea.
So what's Milo drinking?
Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna Google some American sodas.
You don't have to Google some American sodas. Do what's in your heart. Like this is our end of the world town. It can have a local to you soda if you want.
But it's fun also to Google things.
True. Well, now I'm gonna Google British sodas.
Oh, I don't know what it's a cherry Pepsi Max.
Okay. That's I can't be friends with Milo anymore. That's to August. That is disgusting.
Wow, rude.
I'm sorry. I cannot abide Pepsi.
Oh no. Regular Pepsi, bad. Pepsi Max, acceptable in limited circumstances. But I'm a Coca-Cola rather than a Pepsi person. What's Marnie drinking?
Oh man. So I actually recognize the name of this one. I don't think I've actually tried it, but I think that she's got an Iron Brew.
An Iron Brew. Uh-huh.
Iron Brew.
Uh-huh.
And I think she's making a face while drinking it. Because like her favored soda is out and has been out for a while, so she's just trying a new thing and it's just like, this isn't what I wanted.
I think that's a very valid reaction to trying an Iron Brew for the first time, frankly. But I get the objection. They do taste, it's an acquired taste, to be sure. Do taste a little bit like licking a penny.
I think I know a place locally where I can probably pick one up to try at some point.
Oh, you gotta.
But Marnie's making a face.
Do you want something different?
I wanted a strawberry Fanta. It's fine. Gotta try new things, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if not now. And trails off, realizing doesn't want to confront the end of that sentence.
Yeah. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Milo will like grab a couple of things off the shelves before they leave to put in the backpack he's got, and adds another couple of bills to the one that Marnie put down.
That sounds like scene to me. All right. Time to draw a card. 6 of Hearts. What was the last thing the two of you had a long conversation about? Remember it together. The two things that immediately spring to mind are, because Marnie came home for a funeral, was it about the person that Marnie's mourning? Or was it about Marnie's decision to go off to college?
I like the former.
Okay.
I suppose then the question is, who was it?
Yeah. I just had a horrible thought.
Uh-huh.
Who got out before things went bad? Like I said, horrible.
Dealer's choice. I appreciate we're taking turns dealing, but
I feel bad killing just about anybody, but I do feel like it should be somebody that we already know.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a time-honored tradition.
Yeah.
I mean, casual reminder, when we did the Dungeon Karma game, we killed off a bunch of characters.
Ooh, since you did the Dungeon Karma game and killed off a bunch of people, how about it's Morden? Like he would have been in the queer kid solidarity.
Absolutely.
So he would have been in their group, and I think Marnie like had jokingly asked, like, so how much of the town did Morden, finally get to kiss?
Not as much as you might think. For all that, he liked to talk a good game, I think he was actually hung up on a couple of people more than anything else.
I guess that tracks.
Mm.
I don't know. It's hard to imagine him having any sort of hang-ups, you know?
I mean, fair, fair. I suppose deep down, he could be as insecure as the rest of us, though. Just better at hiding it.
Way better.
Way better.
I don't know if there's ever going to be a better wingman, though.
Oh, yeah? I don't think I was ever brave enough to ask him to do it for me.
I don't know if I ever would have kissed Julie Keener if it hadn't been for him.
You kissed Julie Keener?
And Marnie just kind of like it's like a watery laugh, and she's just like, yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know. I've never had a kiss that wasn't super awkward, but it was nice. She was pretty.
I think he just sort of falls into a lull of quiet for a moment. I miss him.
I miss him too, but I don't know. I'm glad he doesn't have to deal with all of this, and she gestures to everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something.
Hooray for bad coping.
Yeah. Well, that feels kind of nice, like there.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty. Queen of Spades. You notice as you cross from street to street that someone has built a community garden where there used to be an abandoned house. It's thriving. Ask your partner if they knew this was here. So they sort of turn around this corner. Maybe it's like morning at this point. I like the visual of like they turn a corner and the sun's like spilling out over the street, and there's just this garden like where stuff's growing, and Milo stops. Did you know about this?
I mean, I didn't think anything was ever going to grow here. Like I thought they were just going to leave this old place to rot. Who lives next door?
I mean,
Is it still the Martins? Do you think they did it?
Maybe. I just Milo like walks up like cautiously, like holding on to the straps of the backpack, and just like starts sort of taking in details and trying to find like sources of like maybe any tools that might be there or anything like that, anything other than the stuff that's growing that might indicate who was responsible.
I don't know. I think since it might be like a community garden, I'm torn because part of me thinks that people bring their own tools.
Yeah.
But part of me wonders if there isn't, since it's a community garden, that there isn't like some sort of shed for communal use tools.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it would be more interesting if there are some gardening implements here. Like, we don't have any weapons, but, having a rake to wave around or a hoe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's better than nothing, but it at least gives the illusion of being better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. I dig it.
So we take these tools.
Yeah. And we want to keep tabs on the right-hand side of the map.
So. Yeah. Okay, we've got gardening tools and snacks and drinks so far.
Mm-hmm. And the mystery of a community garden.
Yeah. I think Marnie, looks to see if there's anything that's really viable, and I don't think anything's ripe yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing we can really take from here, but it's nice to know that if we last that long, maybe we can have a tomato sandwich.
Yeah, I like it.
I am going to draw the card. 5 of spades. The boutique clothing store you could never afford has its windows smashed in already. Do you take a moment to pick out something that will make you laugh or something that will keep you warm? Either way, pull a block. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the block now. Got a 5. I think Marnie, I think she grabs Milo by the hand and tugs him inside.
Yeah.
She notably is not going to leave any bills for this. But she pulls a scarf down and is like looking at the tag, and it's like a $50 scarf, and she just kind of like winds it around her neck and puts on a posh voice and is just like, how do I look?
Uh, Milo like puts his hand to it, just like, oh, divine, that color. I'm all about that on you.
She laughs a little and picks up a hat and just like plops it on Milo's head and is just like, you look absolutely darling.
You know, I have been debating about wearing more hats. Just sort of like adjusts the brim a little bit.
Maybe it's like, because I can see Milo looking good in like God, is it like a paperboy hat or a newsboy hat,
Mm-hmm.
something like that?
Yeah.
I can see him looking cute in that based on the art of him that exists. So,
Mm-hmm. And I think, and then Milo was going to grab like, you know, one of those like in like All Saints and stores like that, those like artfully worn like sweaters that are kind of already full of holes,
mm-hmm.
but pulls one of those off and looks at it just like $150 for something that is half full of holes. It will be a crime not to take this. Like shucks off his coat and then pulls the sweater on over what he's got on and then puts his coat back on.
Marty laughs again and is just like, I bet if it didn't have any holes, it would be $300.
Ugh. I do not get how rich people dress.
I don't understand it either, but finders keepers, I guess. And she finds like a kind of like very boho duster
Mm.
style thing that she shrugs on, and then she grabs a matching hat for the one that Milo has, except it's in a different color.
Mm-hmm.
Puts that on her head and just like does a little twirl, and I think I want her to take something else, but I'm not sure 100% what she takes.
Mm-hmm. Do you want it to be something practical or something fun?
Something fun. Maybe a pair of like chunky sunglasses that
Good
retail
shit.
for $200.
Good shit. Love that for her. Jack of Diamonds. You cross a creek down the back of someone's garden and swear it used to run faster and wider. It was night last time you crossed it. Why? They sort of, as they sort of like have hopped over this stream, just like Milo sort of rubs a hand over the back of his head. It's like, well, that went better than last time. You know, it used to be wider than that and a lot faster. And so I was dared to see if I could do like a running jump across it. I know, but I am somewhat competitive. It can be nice, and you know, maybe I was shy enough. But either way, I ran from there and gesture. Gave myself a full running start. Should have been perfect. Landed on the opposite bank, and a bit of the bank gave way. On my back, in the creek, soaked from head to toe, start floating down. Had to stand up. Oh my God, he was laughing so much at me.
Yeah,
Good
I
times.
can imagine.
And because I made you laugh, I get to roll and to draw a block.
Hell yeah.
18.
I think Marnie kind of puts a hand on Milo's shoulder. I don't think she says anything though. I think she just kind of like looks back at the creek a little wistfully, and her hand slips from Milo's shoulder and she gestures and is just like, well, we've still got a little ways to go before we get where we want to be, so at least you didn't get soaked this time.
Yeah. Well, they says that. And he looks sad. But the two of them move on.
The Eight of Spades.
The Eight of Spades.
You find a car in working condition. For a second, you wonder if you could make it far away from the hunter in this, and then a second later, you hear the hunter's footsteps. Escape as fast as you can, both of you pulling blocks. I kind of, in my head, imagine the hunters make sounds other than just their footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my head, there's just been, like, the concept that they make a sound like screeching metal, but quiet. And so like we get to the car and we're trying to get the doors open and it's just like, oh yes. And then, Marnie is frantically trying to remember if she knows how to hotwire a car,
Mm-hmm.
which she doesn't, but she's trying
Mm-hmm.
when there's just like that sound of creaking metal
Mm-hmm.
and she just goes still.
I think Milo was like stood next to the side of the car, like watching her do that, rather than like cram. I'm imagining just a small car, and obviously he's a tall dude.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that creaking sound, and without missing a beat, just like leans into the car and scoops Marnie out of it,
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't say anything because they both know what that sound means.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he literally like scoops her up and like starts running and then sets her down as soon as like unfreezes, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a matter of outrunning the hunter so much as like I don't think that whatever this is, I don't think we could take it in a foot race, but it's a matter of like,
Mm.
Just kind of like finding a place to quietly hide
Yeah.
while it passes. And I think wherever it is that they're hiding, like Marnie just like has a death grip on Milo's hand.
Yeah.
All right, I need to pull my block because you already pulled yours and got a 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a 4.
Jack of Hearts. You found a car that looks familiar. I thought that said cat and was very excited. Words cannot contain my disappointment. You found a car that looks familiar. Who did it belong to? Ask your partner if they remember the original owner. I tell you what, it's just like they've come out of where they were hiding and sort of like taken off in a different direction. And maybe they get to like there's a small parking lot outside a store, and I just like that it's a really distinct paint job.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I haven't seen that since high school. Do you remember that car, right?
Marnie's brow kind of furrows, and she's like, "Yeah, I mean, kind of hard to forget that paint job. Wasn't that Soul Hawk's car? Like, didn't she get that like third hand and keep threatening to change the paint job, but she never got around to it?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that the that Valera Max was always giving her shit about it.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, who can blame Valera? Look at that.
I mean, only she could have gotten away with driving that car. Anyone else would have had the shit ripped out of them for it. But Sol just had to look at people.
Yeah. And Marnie kind of quietly says, I guess if her car's here, she was probably here too.
Maybe. Oh no, maybe she sold it off. Maybe she got out of this town. I know she hated it here.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, this car was somebody else's problem.
Mm-hmm. Like, as soon as she could have upgraded, I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like, it's clearly not working. Like, maybe part of it looks like it's been burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It had an engine fire, or as I like to call them, a barbecue.
Oh my god, August!
Don't blame me. I got that from my dad.
Okay. I will rescind blame for now.
Blame my dad. He doesn't listen to the podcast. It's fine.
All right, then. Mr. Harpy.
Yes. Okay. Four of diamonds. You found a decent stock of shelf-stable food in someone's house. Whose house was it? Ask your partner if they knew the owner was prepping like this.
I appreciate this game turning into a who's who of us naming other characters in for the leader.
Uh-huh. Well, I've pulled a couple of names out of my butt, but
You know, the Max multiverse theory tracks.
Hmm.
So you decide whose house it is, and I determine the prepping thing.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Maybe this is just the house that Sol's old car was parked in front of.
Mm.
So this is potentially, I don't want to say the Hawk household because we know Sol typically has a blended family of some sort. So I don't know if she just kept her last name when parents remarried or something like that.
Yeah.
The Hawk Whitmer household.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is at the very least what at one point was the Hawk Whitmer household.
And Milo just starts putting the food in his bag.
I think Marnie may go looking through the rest of the house really quick to see if there's another bag that we can use. Probably turns up some really colorful, like obviously belong to like a fourth grader backpack.
I love this for her.
Yeah, and she just starts stuffing food into it too. Let's call that like a week of shelf stable food.
God, I can't believe how much stuff is in here. Are these legit MREs? I show you the packet.
I mean, I've never been in the army, but if someone told me that was an MRE, I'd believe them. Could also be some of that fancy camping food.
Maybe.
Didn't realize anybody in this neighborhood was a prepper either. Did you know?
No. I mean, not in this part of town anyway. Like, there's definitely a couple of the older folks more out on the fringes who like to keep a good stock, but that's more if they get cut off during the weather and stuff like that.
I wonder how they're doing.
We could go look.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we head there next?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think that's scene.
Agreed. 7 of diamonds. Okay, so we're heading in that direction. And I think okay, you worked here 1 year during high school. It was a crappy job. You kind of want to break in. What kind of place is it? What do you find there that's valuable? I think it's a diner.
Okay.
And Mana sort of stops and just is like staring at the place for a moment. And just sort of like walks up towards the door and wraps the bottom of his coat over his hand, and quietly as he can sort of like pops the pane of glass next to the handle so he can reach through and do the lock. And I have to roll for that. That's an 8. No doubles yet. What do we find in here that's valuable?
I think Marnie goes to the kitchen to scope out like the kitchen implements, like the knives.
I was gonna say, I think that maybe if we can still find knives, but I think there's also like maybe a decently stocked first aid kit.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, because they needed it because
like kitchen injuries and like
Yeah.
burns and cuts and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like
didn't Parker like work here too when you were here, and didn't they keep cutting themselves?
They were not great with a knife, yet Chef, and I do puts hands up and do the inverted commas around it, was insistent that Parker do the prep.
I thought Morden got food poisoning one time when we ate here.
Yeah, I think so. I told him he could do better than eating in this place. Apparently, something about the jaw of me in a waitstaff uniform was something he couldn't pass up. Really, you know what? I'm glad he got food poisoning. Dick. And there's no real venom in it.
Yeah. Marnie still kind of tears up a little anyway, though.
Shit. Sorry, Marnie.
No, it's okay. I mean, if you don't want people to call you a dick after you're dead, don't be a dick when you're alive. And again, there's no venom to it.
Yeah.
But she sniffles a little and then wipes her eyes with like the cuff of her little boho duster. And it's just like, okay, well, we got these things, and maybe that's the best thing this place has ever done.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take it.
Is that scene?
Yes.
All right. Oh, our first two.
Hey. Let's keep those separate, just alongside the tower, so we can see when we get them.
Yes. So we got the two of spades. This was your classroom years and years ago. You don't know all the names of the children you found here or their teacher, but she whispers that she'd be happy for the help if you could offer it.
So is this Oh, okay, I got this way. So we're through and we hear that something that sounds like a children laughing, and we're both like, the fuck? And it turns out that, yes, there is a small group in the school. Yeah, maybe there was an attached kindergarten or something.
Yeah. I think maybe like it's not like a whole classroom full of children, but maybe like, 4 or 5 kids and the teacher. Do we give them some of our food?
Oh, yeah. No question. Like, I was already planning on saying it.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, we can't stay, and just sort of like starts unpacking some of the food.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we get rid of all of like the snacks and like half of our shelf stable food, so we've only got a couple of days of food.
And like Milo will help like reinforce anything that needs reinforcing. So
yeah, Marnie like teaches the kids some kind of game they can play really quietly. I don't know that there's much else to this. Like, we divest ourselves of some of the things that we've got.
Yeah.
And we move along. We've got places to be, but maybe we tell the teacher where we found some of the food.
I like that.
Just in case.
I like the thought that seeing these kids maybe gave us a little bit of hope as well. Like, that's maybe why we felt safe enough to give up some of the food, or more of the food than maybe we would have otherwise. So, yeah. 9 of clubs.
That's our first clubs too, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Okay, so this is, it's night. Oh, great. One of you has tripped and something has fallen in the darkness, and the searchlight of the hunter swings in your direction. Get out of there as fast as you can. And I'll be pulling a block. Ooh, it's our second hit on a number. So this is after leaving the school, and it's dark, but we haven't found like a safe space to stop. Which one of us trips?
I want to say it's Marnie. Like, Milo wasn't a jock per se, but like he's been a physical kid.
Yeah.
Whereas Marnie's just kind of average, and I'm not going to say she's like super klutzy, but I feel like it's more reasonable for her to like trip over something.
Yeah. Got a pitch for you. Like, she trips and actually manages to catch herself without making any noise, but the sunglasses that were perched on top of her head go flying off and clatter really loudly.
Yes.
And then this pivot of light just swings towards us.
Accompanied, of course, with
that creak of metal.
Yes. I like that a lot. And
I think in the movie of this is the loudest that sound has been. Like, we didn't even, maybe we hadn't even realized there was one so close. And then this happens and we're both like, maybe like, fuck, 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 fuck.
Yeah. I know it's not part of the prompt, but where do we hide? We definitely don't want to, double back or anything. We can't possibly lead them to those kids.
No.
But, oh man.
You got something.
I'm just trying to think, like, I'm imagining, and let me pitch this to you. You're more than welcome to say no. I'm imagining, like, we duck into a place that's full of glass, like
Mm.
maybe a liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
And as the hunter passes, you know, we're just kind of like covering our mouths and trying not to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see the light shining through some of
Mm.
the glasses in the front window. And like as the hunter passes, like maybe the ground shakes a little and we can hear the tinkle of the glasses. And we're hoping that
Mm-hmm.
it just passes us by.
Yeah. I love that.
Cool.
Good shit.
All right.
Mm.
And 2 of clubs.
Hey, second two.
So we've got our second 2. Oh. So the dive bar downtown smells of warm beer and you can hear the pokies ringing from the back room. Enough sound to cover the sound of you to keep you safe for a little while. Cool. So this is a place that I feel like maybe Morden has taken us, like
Mhm.
with some fake IDs.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe the bartender, you know, because this is a fairly insular community. It's not like people don't know each other. So it's just
Yeah.
like the bartender ignored the fake ID and is just like, fine, whatever, and just poured like crappy watered down beer for us when we were here last time.
Mhm.
And so there's like, we're safe for the time being, but there's also that kind of melancholy. And I think maybe Marnie goes for a bottled beer, like of the brand that we used to drink when we were here,
Mhm.
and then passes one to Milo and is just like, drink with me.
Yeah. Of course. Sort of like takes the beer and clinks bottles with her.
I know I said that maybe it's better he wasn't here, but I kind of wish he was.
Yeah, me too.
It's so stupid, you know? Like, it's stupid that he died, and it's stupid that we're having to run like this, and it's just so stupid. It's senseless.
I don't think Milo says anything, but he's just sort of like nodding in agreement.
And I think once Marnie gets that out of her system, she's sniffling a little and she looks at Milo, and it's a little bit of a watery expression on her face, and she's like, I'm glad you're here.
He reaches over and takes her hand and squeezes it.
I wish I'd come home sooner so we could actually hang out instead of having to do this. And she kind of like laughs dryly at her very bad joke. I think that might be seen.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. So I pulled the 3 of diamonds, but that isn't in the book. Um, so
Huh.
so I pulled another card and got the 2 of diamonds. So that's our third 2. But the public library here is small, but it had bean bags. The doors are unlocked. You'll be safe here for a little while. So is this like after the dive bar?
Yeah.
We decided not to stay there, so I moved out and then just got to the library and saw that one of its doors was like slightly ajar, and
Mm-hmm.
like push our way inside and maybe go to like the reading room or like the kids section of the library, which isn't big, but we do know there are those bean bags, and we just sort of
Mm-hmm.
figure it's us because like the windows are high and stuff, and it's just sort of like a place where we can feel safe. And there's something just about the familiar smell of a library.
The paper smell.
Mm-hmm. It's comforting in a way that nowhere else I think has been. Like either we feel like we're intruding, but this is a public place that's
Yeah.
also feels safe.
I know this isn't a part of the prompt, but when was the last time you were here?
I think it was turning some books for his mum.
When was that? Was that like last Tuesday or?
I think it was not long. It was not long before shit went down.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, okay, yeah, because like this, his parents are out of town or were out of town, and he got a call from his mum like, "I forgot to return some books. I don't want to fine. Can you drop these in for me?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
I think the last time Marnie was here was when she was cramming for the SAT, which I don't know. Do you know what the SAT is?
vaguely.
Yeah, for our non-American followers, the United States college system is just kind of fucked up, and requires you to take a test that was created specifically to kind of like disenfranchise minority test takers to use it as like a standard for college admissions. So I'm not bitter about the SAT or anything. Yeah, but Marnie was cramming for that, and that's the last time she was here. So they've rearranged a lot since she was here last. Like maybe the kids section is actually where like nonfiction used to be, or the
Mm-hmm.
periodicals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they still have the bean bags, although they're not the same bean bags. They actually replaced the bean bags, so they're not like 10-year-old bean bags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they actually still have some air in the little beans.
Yeah,
Hmm.
cool. Do we read anything while we're here?
I don't think Milo does.
I think Marnie gets a pile of manga because of who she is as a person.
Milo sees this and goes, I can't believe you're still a fucking weeb.
Listen, sometimes you just get into something and you're there forever, okay?
I mean, I can't judge. I was a homestuck, so. This is VJ
Yeah.
throwing shade on half of the Follow the Leader cast. And many of our
Yeah.
friends. and one of my partners.
Oh my god. At least when you did that cosplay, you remembered to seal your makeup.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody appreciated the effort I went to.
I think Marnie, I don't know, there's a part of me that like wants to end the scene with like Marnie like being shoulder to shoulder with Milo with a flashlight and just being like, here, you've got to read this manga. If you like Homestuck, you'll like this, I promise. And just like, if Milo is willing, the two of them reading together.
I love that. It didn't fit with the mood, but I want to make the point that maybe Milo regretted that because Morden and a couple others made so many horny jokes afterwards. Like, never again.
I mean, there's always time for being sad about your past friend while also trying to survive the end of the world as you know it.
This is true.
All right, the three of clubs. You need something from the pharmacy. You know exactly what, and you know it's in there. But a hunter stands above it, searchlight panning lazily across the town. Do you risk it? I mean, because of who I am as a person, I think Marnie would risk it, but I'm just trying to decide what we need. I feel like it's something that's really important.
Yeah, I think Milo is out of T-gel. Never big on needles, so was using testosterone gel. But yeah, I think like he's on the verge of running out. And it's probably said as much to her. Or maybe he says as they're walking by, like super quiet, it's just like, oh, that's my pharmacy. And like Marnie puts the dots together.
I don't think she even necessarily like broadcasts what she's planning to do. I think she's just like, here, hold this, and gives Milo her kid's backpack. And she darts towards it, like using another burned out car as some cover. And I think, let me draw the block before I decide what happens. Ooh, another 4. Okay. Cool. So this has to be a close one. This has to be one where I think Marnie makes it in okay.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's able to evade the hunter's attention easily enough on the way in.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just had an idea for the searchlight.
Oh, hit me.
What if the searchlight isn't like a flashlight or anything? What if it's like, maybe this is silly, but what if it's like their eyes? Like just their eyes emit the light. And so all we can see is their dark figure with just 2 bright circles that scan where they look.
No, I love that. I think like maybe she's getting ready to come out and something gets stuck or she makes a noise on the way. And what Milo ends up doing, sees like the gaze of the hunter shift and is like, no, 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 and like picks up a broken bit of masonry and just
Mhm.
like throws it as far as he can, and it like smashes a window on the other side of the street.
I like that a lot. Yeah, Marnie like steps on some broken glass or something on her
Mm.
way out and freezes, and then Milo does that, and like the
Mm-hmm.
hunter's eyes just like snap to that quicker than
Mm-hmm.
you would think possible, and then like we hear the screeching metal as the hunter goes after it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice, nice, nice. And this like grabs hold of Marnie's hand and like is pulling. She's like, "What were you doing? What was so important?"
And she like shoves like their entire stock of tea gel into his hand and is just like, here.
Oh my god,
Hmm?
you are just. Oh my god, and just sort of like the two of them just like running off and around a corner. It's just like I think he tears up a little, or his voice goes a little bit wobbly rather than tearing up. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Listen, it's important, okay? I know it's important, and just because the world's ending doesn't mean we can forget important stuff, okay?
Mm, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I've got how this next bit starts. I think we hear a creak of metal ahead, and we both sort of freeze. And Milo glances around the corner just to double check, and it's a playground ahead of us, and the wind is making like the little merry-go-round turn, a little roundabout turn, and like
Mm-hmm.
the swings back and forth. As you avoid the playground, lest the sound draw the hunter, remember sitting on the swings just before one of you left. What were you talking about? Do you even remember, or does the creaking of the chains drown out your past selves?
I don't want everything that we did last to be like about Marnie going to college.
Hmm.
So I think maybe this one is about Marnie debating on whether she should break up with her current girlfriend
Hmm.
and going to Milo for advice. And
Mm-hmm.
it was probably one of those things where they were sitting on the swings and it was like after dusk
Yeah.
and it was just like the two of them, and the swings have always creaked like this.
I love that.
So,
I don't even like want to dwell on that conversation, but I like thought as they're circling it, there's like in their memories you just hear like a voiceover, the a bit of the old that conversation.
yeah.
Did she break up with the girl?
I think it didn't matter because when she went and was resolved to break up with the girl, the other girl broke up with her first.
Mm,
And it was kind of a relief.
yeah.
10 of Hearts. You were together in a coffee shop when the hunters first came. What were you talking about? Do you still care?
Hmm.
Oh man. Obviously, we're passing that coffee shop,
Yeah.
and that's what brings it up.
Mm-hmm.
Was it after Morden's funeral?
Yeah. I like that a lot. Like the wake's going on, and they're both like, "Should we bail? Yeah, let's bail."
Yeah.
I think it was just one of those conversations where you're both avoiding the thing that's hanging over you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a lot of like asking Monty what college was like and where's she living at the moment. Got a
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend these days.
Marnie talks about how she doesn't have a girlfriend, but she's got a collection of succulents, and asks Milo if he still does that one hobby. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what does Milo do? One, I definitely think he looked really confused about the succulents comment. I have not
mm-hmm.
made it clear enough because I don't want to lean too far into a comedic tone. Milo is still very much a himbo. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like definitely had a look on his face of is succulents a term the kids are using for like fuck buddies now? Is this like a city talk? I don't know. Okay. I think Milo does like screen printing as a hobby, like making printed shirts and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
And actually gets kind of animated talking about that. But yeah.
Marnie talks about maybe commissioning him for something,
Mm-hmm.
like a custom t shirt, but I don't think the t shirt matters anymore. I
No.
think everything else, none of the stuff that they were talking about matters. And obviously, the stuff that they weren't talking about still matters.
Yeah.
All right. Your card.
My card. 3 of spades. The roof of the house, this house is missing, shorn off by some great force. But there's some good stuff in it. Be quiet and grab something before you're caught. Exposed and listening to the sound of heavy footsteps is your normal now. You don't need to pull a block, even though you're on edge, as though you had. Gosh, what do they find here?
I'm trying to think what would be good supplies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, food is evergreen.
This is true.
Don't really want to take cans because they're so heavy, but
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think, yeah, Milo finds some fishing supplies, including some flares in the emergency kit.
ooh.
But also, they now have, like, means to fish if they can get to a body of water. And maybe we know there's a
Yeah.
lake nearby, like, pretty nearby. So it's not, like, a useless thing to take with.
Yeah. Mr. Nakamura always went to the lake to fish and he always had good luck there. So,
Mhm.
we know there's fish in that lake.
Yeah. At least they used to be. But yeah, I like that. That's like, she's like, is it worth us taking this? And then they have that exchange about the lake.
Yeah. I mean, this may even be Mr. Nakamura's house and it's,
No, I like that.
cool.
Cool.
All right. Drawing a card. King of Hearts. Here is where you had your first kiss. Where are you and who did you kiss? Ask your partner what became of them. I think maybe her first kiss was actually with a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe her first kiss was with Parker
Uh-huh.
and it was weird and that's what made her realize, "Oh, wait a minute. I don't like boys." Poor Parker.
Mm-hmm.
He takes it in stride.
Bless.
But where are we? Maybe we're headed towards the lake, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we're in a wooded area that's on the way that we have to pass through.
Yeah.
And Marnie remarks on how this is where she had her first kiss and asks, "So did Parker ever get out?"
Trying to decide which is the fun one to discuss. Oh, yeah. Not long after you did. I'm not sure where they went. I was never particularly tight with them. But, yeah, nah. I think I remember seeing he had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or both.
That sounds like Parker. He was a sweet guy.
You know, we don't know what's going on out there. Maybe it's just this town. They got real unlucky.
Yeah. We'll find out. I know somebody out there has to have like a CB radio or something. We can figure out what's going on.
Yeah. This can't be it, right?
Yeah. It can't be.
That's got to be seen, right?
Yeah.
Dope.
Hi, it's August, and I just wanted to thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed us, please consider leaving a rating on your podcast platform of choice, telling your friends about us, or tweeting about us using the FTLcast hashtag. We are also part of a nonprofit podcasting guild called Standing Stones Productions. We do a variety of shows, including The Room Where It Happened and Dumb Kids Playing Hero, 2 actual play shows, and a Steven Universe discussion podcast called Gay Space Rocks. We also do live streams at twitch.tv/standingstonesprod. You can keep up with everything that we do on Twitter at stones_standing. Unfortunately, Standing Stones was already taken. Your support means a lot. Thanks again!